Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing. And I'm excited about the story we have today for you. We're talking with Emi and Mika Onishi, who are the founders of UPTOGOOD. It's a website that is for documentary filmmakers mostly, and it's part crowdfunding, part petitions, part pledges. It's really an exciting website, and I'm excited to be able to talk to you. And Emi, Mika, welcome to the show. We're excited to talk with you.
Thank you so much.
This really is kind of an exciting thing for me. I've had a number of documentary filmmakers on the show, and we've talked to a lot of people about crowdfunding on the show. Of course, filmmakers love to crowdfund, usually to make their films. Right. But it's interesting, your crowdfunding site is really designed for helping people to engage after the film is produced, right?
That's right. Yeah, thank you. It really is to grab that very moment after you watch something really inspiring that moved you and capturing that moment. And we've kind of defined 4 actions that you can take right when you're feeling all of that overwhelming feeling of wanting to do something. And what we're trying to address here is, you know, oftentimes all of us, I think, have one way or another watched a social change documentary film or a viral video that moves you, but then you just end up feeling frustrated because you don't know actually what you can do to help, or maybe, you know, you feel a little bit guilty because you just let that feeling pass you by. So we're trying to address that very moment. And we actually think that by having, you know, this watch and then pay model for social change documentary filmmakers, it's a new way to kind of supplement their monetization and distribution, because a lot of these filmmakers, they set out to create these films not just to make money, but also because they want as many people as possible to watch their film and also to actually affect change. And, you know, we think we're excited to encourage this type of model in addition to the traditional models.
It really is, I think, important to help documentary filmmakers, especially those that are focused on some sort of a cause, as many are, to help them expand their audience and their impact.
That's right.
Emi, tell us, Emi, how did you two get started with this? What was the trigger for creating this?
I think, you know, there is definitely a growing need to champion more good in the world. And there are so many different types of challenges and social issues happening around the world, and we all care and want to do something to help. But as Mika said, you know, often, even if you care about certain social issues that's happening around the world, you may not know exactly what you can do, or what is that small little action you can take on a daily basis in order to do something on a daily basis. And in order for any change or impact to take place, I think the first step is to discover and learn and understand the social issues that are happening around the world, and to encourage people to raise awareness of the state of the social issues and build empathy between people. And we believe that storytelling influences individuals' attitude and behavior, and encourage people to take action. And the greater the emotional involvement is, the more likely people are to do something about it. And if you don't know, it's not realistic to do anything about it if there's little knowledge or little understanding of what's going on in the world. So we built UPTOGOOD with that in mind, and hoping that we can encourage people to share the stories that matter, and to get people to start the dialogue and open up and have these type of important conversations, and hopefully influence individuals to change their perspective and attitude and lead to a daily action that hopefully will lead to a bigger impact.
Well, I appreciate that, Emi, and thank you for that response. Now, how are you seeing the site being used? The site is brand new. You've been up about 30 days. Mika, why don't you tell us a little bit about who's using it and how they're using it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are so excited. We were able to launch with the support of folks like the United Nations Foundation, to wonderful social change documentary filmmakers, you know, that are covering all kinds of different topics, who we envision to be creating campaigns, impact campaigns on UPTOGOOD, or, you know, could really be anyone with a good heart. So, you know, our original inspiration actually came from watching social change documentaries on Netflix and feeling that feeling of, where do I go with this inspiration? But really, the site could be used by nonprofit organizations that have a story to tell. I think every organization that's cause-oriented has a story to tell. There's always a story behind why it was created in the first place. And we believe that the visual medium of storytelling is really powerful. There's a lot of research and science that backs this up. You know, we are wired for storytelling from the caveman days. You know, it elicits empathy. And so that social change documentaries, and you can be just a good-hearted person that cares about what's going on in the news today and decide to flip a camera on yourself, take a little, you know, video, talk about what you care about, and put up a little campaign. And if you have an idea about a cause that, you know, you might want to fund, people that you might want to fund that could actually help the cause, or a simple promise that you think that you can rally people to do, then, you know, go for it. So we see the platform for everyone.
Well, it's interesting. I want to step through each of your 4 actions, because each of these 4 actions that you've designed on the site are powerful ways to help. And I am a big fan of crowdfunding and talk about crowdfunding all the time, but I don't want to focus too much on it. But your item 1 is funded. Essentially, you have created a crowdfunding site here.
That's right.
But let's leave that aside and talk a little bit about Sign It. Emi, tell us about when you say sign it, what do you mean?
Sign It is essentially a digital petition functionality that we have. We're borrowing the page from change.org and combining with all the 4 different actions that we have. We encourage people to, it could be specific issues that's happening, and people and to address the social issues. And we want to encourage the campaign post to basically collect the digital signatures to make some difference and hopefully change the legislation.
We actually say this is one time it's going to name drop, right? So it's just a really easy, quick way to drop your name on something in support of it. And
fantastic, fantastic. So great petition functionality. Now the next thing you like to talk about is Promise It. What's Promise It? What's the difference between the Sign It and Promise It functionality?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's a great question. So Sign It is something where you actually are asking someone else of authority, power, or influence, or maybe legal authority, to ask them to help affect the change. Promise It is where, you know, you can be the change you want to see in the world, like Gandhi said, right? So Promise It is something that we're really excited about, because it's really ripe for all kinds of iterations of what it could be and possibilities of what it could be. So we're encouraging the campaign hosts to help narrow down what a simple set of actions that an average person could take after being moved by a piece of video or a social change documentary. So for example, it could be something as simple as, I promise to not purchase water in plastic bottles for the next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So imagine that simple promise being multiplied by many, many people, like 1 million people, 10 million people. Then you can actually change the world from that really simple promise. So it's essentially a digital pinky swear.
So it's a reverse of the petition. It's an inward, self-directed promise. Okay.
Yeah.
And then your shared functionality, Emi, that's your standard social sharing tool, right?
Yes, you can share with all the major social media, and as well as via email. You can also embed the campaign as well. And we also have some tool sets where we help people to promote the campaigns that they have on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, we're excited to see what you're doing, and grateful that you would take the time to be with us today. I want to ask you some personal questions, though, before you go. And I'll ask you just to be brief, because I want to get answers from both of you on all of these questions. But Mika, let's start with you. As you create this enterprise and you're successful with it, you are becoming a role model to a lot of people. So, and this is true for both of you. So, Mika, who do you look up to? Who's your role model? Who gives you inspiration?
So I have a number of people that comes to mind, but if I had to pick one person, it would be Elon Musk. You know, I think that he is just a brilliant man, and I admire him for being just a big dreamer, but he has a purpose, a higher purpose for everything that he does, and he actually gets them done, which is quite remarkable. And so from PayPal to Tesla Motors to Solar City to SpaceX, I mean, these are just monumental accomplishments that he's forging forward with. And I think, from all accounts that I've read online, it's not, he's not doing this to figure out how he can make more money for himself. It's really about, he's concerned about humanity's future and survival. And I think that, that sense of higher purpose must, combined with his grit and his brilliance, helps him, forge forward despite all the obstacles I'm sure he faces. And
that's a great example. Great example. What about you, Emi? Who do you look up to as a role model?
I've been a huge fan of Nicholas Kristof. I think he's an amazing journalist and a powerful storyteller that continues to shed light to stories that matter, and to also challenge individuals' perspective and continue to influence individuals' behavior. He actually recently had an interesting article about slacktivism and the LS ice bucket challenge. And slacktivism is a term for a cheap way to feel good without doing anything meaningful. And the article basically talked about how the slacktivism ended up helping raise awareness to LS and to raise $150 million over a 6-week period of time. Obviously, slacktivism doesn't always help solve the problem, but I think that's a great entry point and starting point for a lot of people that will. And at UPTOGOOD, we really encourage people to share the stories that matter. And some may start with slacktivism, but our hope and goal is to have those individuals read to join the UPTOGOOD movement and share the stories that matter, and start the dialogue between people to build empathy, and hopefully that will lead to more action and more impact.
Great. Now, I want to ask you both, I'll start again with Mika, if you would tell me a little bit about why you care about these issues. And I understand why they're important. What I want to understand is your personal connection, why they're important to you. So Mika, why do you care?
Yes, so great question again. I think that at the end of the day, at the risk of sounding a little corny, I actually want to do something that's bigger than myself, as I said, the genesis came from my personal experience in watching documentaries and not knowing where to direct that inspiration. And there's this kind of nagging sense of, oh my gosh, all of these good hearts are being wasted, And so prior to UPTOGOOD, I was actually the president and publisher of a company called Click Media Group, and it's a parent company to a very popular celebrity and fashion magazine online called Who, What, Where. So I come from outside of the impact space. My expertise, I would say, is in digital media and branding and helping Fortune 500 and lifestyle and fashion brands connect with their audience through influencers and marketing. And so I saw, when I look to think about, well, what can I do to contribute to this? Because I don't have the answers on how to solve all the world's problems. I saw an opportunity in UPTOGOOD's concept to leverage my expertise and, bring what I know into the impact space and hopefully enlarge the pie of people who care about this stuff. There's so many amazing people, inspiring people that are doing good already, but I think that it tends to be a little bit of an echo chamber. And my goal is to kind of make this a little bit more mainstream. Let's evolve beyond the selfie. What's next? We'd hope UPTOGOOD will be that place.
Fantastic. Emi, what about you? Why do you personally care about these issues?
I think similar to Mika, I've been a huge fan of social impact documentary films, and every time after I watch these impactful stories, I was left with this, overwhelming feeling of, I want to do something to help, and also I was overwhelmed with all the learning and understanding and discovery of all the different types of social issues that are happening around the world. And also in my personal experience as well as to friends and family, you witness and experience different types of social issues and challenges on a daily basis. And when you watch these type of stories or go through this experience, you're left with this empathy of this capacity to want to do something. And as cheesy as it may sound, I wanted to do something to help. And similar to Mika, my background also doesn't come from a social impact space. My career has been primarily in building products for entertainment and tech industry. But I wanted to bring all that experience and expertise that I learned over the course of my career into the social impact space and hopefully do something good.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate that. Now, one last question I want to ask each of you both quickly to give me one impact hack, that is some tip that would help us do more good in the world. And both of you obviously are doing a lot of good, and so we're excited to learn from you. So Mika, what's your impact hack?
So my impact hack is I'm very, very clear on my why. And I'm a kind of person, I'm ENFP for those who know what MBTI personality type tests are. But I literally wear my passion on my sleeves with everyone I talk to. I'm constantly super excited about it and very passionate about telling our story for why we started UPTOGOOD and the possibilities around it. And I think that passion is super contagious, and that's how we get a lot of stuff done at UPTOGOOD, just being passionate and people tune into that. So that would be my impact hack.
Fantastic. And Emi, you?
Yes, I think as I mentioned earlier, I think in order for any impact or change to take place, the first step is to discover and learn and understand about the social issues that's happening around the world. And so, I'm just an average person, but, I try to donate my influence by sharing the stories that matter to friends and family. And I think that's something that everybody in the world can do, whether you're an average person or whether you're a celebrity and influencer with a big following. If every single person were to donate their influence and to share the stories that matter, that will open up so much more dialogue. And people will start talking about the social issues that is happening around the world. And hopefully that will lead more people to change their perspective, individuals' behavior and attitude, and more actions will be taken on a daily basis. And hopefully that will lead to more good.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to be with us today. Mika, before you go, tell us how we can connect with you.
You can connect with us at UPTOGOOD.org. You can also find us at UPTOGOOD.org at our website. You can connect with me personally at Mika, Mika Onishi, Onishi, on any of the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at Mika at UPTOGOOD.org. And for me, you can contact me through Emi at UPTOGOOD.org. I have different user handle. I apologize in advance, but for Twitter, it will be Emi _ONISHI.
Great. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. We're thrilled, and we wish you every success with your new platform.
So much for your support.
All righty, let's do some good.